In our morning rounds, trimming down in the cold. A new study finds that lowering the thermostat by a few degrees may help burn fat. Dr. Christopher Ochner is an obesity specialist at New York's Mount Sinai Hospital and joins us at the table. And I'm listening with both ears to this. Because when you say lower it by a few degrees, what does that mean exactly?
Sure. So this really has to do with the fact that body weight is determined by calories in, calories out, how much you eat and drink versus the calories that we expend. Now, we're burning calories all the time. Just sitting here, we're burning calories. In fact, most of our calories are burnt at rest. It's called your resting metabolic rate.
But how does cold weather affect my weight?
Right. So we know that when people get really cold, they shiver.
True.
Right? And that actually raises your metabolic rate, the amount of calories that you burn just sitting there, by up to 5 times. But the thing is, shivering is uncomfortable. Nobody likes to shiver, especially if you're a surgeon.
So yeah, I don't want my surgeon shivering. You're right.
What this is saying is that it doesn't need to go down to the point where you're actually shivering. People can still remain reasonably comfortable, but lower the temperature and still get an elevation in metabolic rate, the number of calories that you're burning just sitting there.
So help her by explaining it in terms of Fahrenheit. If you go from what to what, you lose weight.
Sure.
Thank you for the translation, Mr. Ross. Yes. Give us some numbers, Chris, really.
Yes.
You've got to lower it to what?
And you need to clarify. So this is not the type of thing where you go home and just drop it down a degree or 2. It doesn't need actually to be chilly. So they're talking, they think, around 65 degrees is probably around the threshold, and there is a threshold below which you need to be in order to get this effect. So they've shown that when people do actually go into cold temperatures, 60, 62, they will actually shiver, but they'll acclimate. They basically get used to it, and they won't shiver as much. So it doesn't need to go down that far. And they also show that people, if they start out at, 70 degrees for their average temperature, if they just lower it by 2-degree increments, slowly over time, maybe over a couple of days, you sort of get used to it and you almost don't even notice.
So here's what you do. You can do well and do good at the same time. It'll lower your heating bill and you'll lose weight. So go home and turn the thermometer.
I think this explains why I ate so much when I used to live in Russia. Dr. Ochner, thank you so much.
I won't be doing that, but thank you.